Howdy, folks. We are back again for another Wednesday one shot. We are doing Chosen this week. Now, we've already done Chosen, but that was after season 3, and we have now both watched season 4. And we wanted to talk a little bit about it. So, on these Wednesday one shots, if you're joining us for the first time, these are things that we're recommending. So, we're not going to be uber critical of these things. We're just kind of telling you what we like and why we like it, and hopefully you can enjoy it too. We will, at least in the very beginning of this, we'll try to stay out of spoilery territory, but we may have to get some, and when we do, we'll throw up the spoiler sign. So, Jesse, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm all right, Curtis. I feel like we just did this.
Yeah, yeah. You know, these
not
Wednesday,
this story, but yeah,
these Wednesday one shots. You know, they come up every week. It's boom, boom, boom. You know,
yeah.
So anyway, Chosen. It is a series that is following Jesus and his disciples, and so we've gone through 3 seasons. At this point, we're at season 4, and this is kind of leading up to his death and everything. That does not happen in this season, so just FYI. But this is kind of the events leading up to that, and so last few kind of miracles, and some things that people have seen, and seeing as people kind of become believers in him. And we talked a little bit about it in our other one, and I think it continues in this season, that they just do a really good job of humanizing all of these characters. So they don't stray too much from the source material, but at the same time they add depth to all of these characters that makes you understand them a little bit better, including things with Jesus and just kind of how he relates to his followers, how he interacts with his mother, things like that. So obviously they're taking some liberties there, but I feel like they're very careful and cognizant of what they're doing to where they don't do anything that I would say is out of character.
Yeah, I feel like you're saying the gospels, that the stories that they're pulling from are taken from, were not written as narrative storytelling. They weren't novels. They weren't written in such a way. They were written as recounting events, and so there's not a lot of, like you said, the depth and the painting of the humanity of the characters into it. It was kind of like, here's the facts kind of a thing. So I know I said it in the last time for the first 3 seasons. This show, it continues in season 4 for me. This is a version of this story I've always wanted to see, where, like you said, it puts the humanity into them. It makes them all feel like real people, and it helps you really get into what they might be feeling and experiencing in the moment and everything. And I think they do a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously if you go and read through the gospels and stuff, it's one of those things where you kind of think to yourself, man, how could these folks see all this stuff and be around this and still have problems believing? And I think they do a good job of helping you to try to understand the culture at the time and the history and all of their traditions and everything else, to where you can kind of, I don't know, maybe agree with, but at least understand kind of where folks are in their belief system, and how some could consider him bad, and so. But even that, you see some of the Pharisees over time, maybe they start with one opinion of him, and then as they hear more and see more, they change their opinion. You even see, well, I'll go ahead and pull up a spoilery alert. Spoilers. You even see, one of the Romans, start to kind of change his belief system after things that he's seen, and getting pulled into seeing some of the sermons, and really becoming, I don't know, probably one of the people in the series that has the most faith in Jesus. so it's very interesting. You know, I mean, it's an interesting tale anyway, because, you know, he doesn't, you know, this guy comes, you know, he's son of God, comes in human form, and he doesn't surround himself by all these religious leaders and all this and that. He surrounds himself with just normal people that are,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fishermen and tax collectors and you know, all these other kind of, you know, people that you wouldn't consider that that's who he would surround himself with. um but you see how that benefits them, how if it benefits the overall mission and stuff. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just really enjoy it. It's another one of those that, you know, I kind of feel good watching, but it also is just a very enjoyable show. Like it's, you know, I think
Yeah,
it helps to kind of bring all that to life.
totally. And you know, even if you're not a person of faith, I think it presents a compelling show. It's
Mhm,
giving you a very well done dramatic presentation of this story, whether you know people agree with it or not. And you know, I think for both of us, we grew up in this, so like we already know the whole story. So
mhm.
watching these people struggle with it, you know, you read the story and like, why don't they get it? We get it, you know, and we weren't even there. But seeing the way they're playing it out in real time in this presentation, it's like, oh, right, they haven't seen the last pieces of the puzzle dropped in yet. But even with what you have seen, like you said with the Roman, it's interesting because he's like a very blue collar, very practical, very matter of fact guy. Like,
Mhm,
you know, it's just kind of like, and he's just like, I can't ignore what I'm seeing happen.
mhm.
Um, and then you get other people who, you know, see the stuff and it just they can't get over the philosophy or the theology of the concept, so their hearts get hardened. You know, like they're just like, and obviously it's written and performed by modern humans, but
Mhm.
like I feel like that's been part of the story all along. So you see that this has been a problem all the way back to those days, where if it doesn't fit in with what I think it's supposed to be, I can't accept it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem I think we all still have today.
You know, it's funny because obviously we're both toy collectors, you know. um and you know, we talk often about you know, when there's a new reveal and stuff for a toy line, and if it's not exactly what somebody is expecting, like people just really get upset. Like, you know, I had in my mind that it was going to be exactly this way, that the figure was going to look like this, or it was going to have these accessories, and it didn't have that, and so I'm upset. And you know,
Yeah,
then they feel like, you know, they've got to you know, let the whole world know about it. And
yeah.
so yeah, you're right. Like
That's a
even way back then, you're seeing the exact same kind of thing, you know.
that's a great analogy. I hadn't made in my brain about. I mean, that's a great reveal because you know. So it's like, oh, we got this new wave. It's gonna well, they reuse some parts. You know, it's just blah 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 blah. But
Right.
like, this is so. I don't think this is. We already threw out the spoiler. Like, this is like the Messiah. Like this is the guy who's going to deliver us from all of our oppression,
Hmm.
and he's hanging out with prostitutes and tax collectors who work for the enemy, and
Hmm.
all the like he's no, this doesn't compute. I'm going to rage post on Facebook, aka turn him into my, you know, my religious organization, because he told me that I was spending my money the wrong way or whatever the thing is. And yeah, it's a lot different with a toy because it's like, oh, it's just something going on my shelf. For these people, this was what they thought was going to be their deliverance from oppression. And um
Well, and it's
yeah,
interesting because, you know, they've been waiting for this person for all of their lives, and they've had all of these you know, prophecies and stuff on what's going to happen when he arrives. And even as those things start to fall into place and you see that he's fulfilling all these prophecies, they still don't want to accept it. They still reject it
yeah,
because it's not what they expect. They're expecting some, you know, great like military general to come down and destroy the
mm,
Romans and all this kind of stuff. And if it's not that, if he's not coming down and destroying their
well,
oppressors, then that's not what they're signing up for. So
well, it's like, I don't know if you've ever heard the story growing up in church, but you know, there was the guy, there's a flood, so he's stuck on he's stuck up in a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And he prays for God, to send, to deliver him, to free him from this tree. He needs, he needs rescued. And like a boat comes along, and then like another boat comes along, and then a helicopter comes along. And at the end, he's like, God, why didn't you say, as he's drowning, or why didn't you say? He's like, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What else do you want me to do?
Right.
And it's like, just because like it doesn't look the way you think it's gonna look doesn't mean it didn't happen. I mean, yeah, it's you expect the water to part and to walk out on dry land. It's like, yeah, that's not like the normal way things happen. That was a very
Right.
special occasion.
Yeah. And even, you see, like, as he goes through this, like, the people that are following him, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden their lives are just immediately better and everything's good. Like, there's some things that they have to deal with, some hardships that they're dealing with, that you could see where that would be frustrating and difficult for them to see. Okay, you're doing all these miracles for these people, but I'm still having to deal with this loss or this injury or this whatever. And so kind of how they deal with that and how he explains that. And it's, I just, like I said, I think they do a good job of taking this, kind of overall, concept of what is in the gospel that doesn't have like dialogue back and forth for each character, and then adding that detail in and still keeping true to the original source material. So
Yeah, there is an event that happens early in the season that really kind of threw me off, because I'm like, how, like, because it's so extra biblical. It's not, but like you said, the way the story plays out, it doesn't feel out of the realm of possibilities. It just really kind of shook me, the way they portrayed that happening, but the way they continue to do that, and like you said, build, it's really good. I don't want to say exactly what it is for folks who do want to watch it, especially because it's not one of the things that is going to happen if you've ever read the story or seen any presentation of it before. But yeah, it's it's really good. I will.
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to
No,
say,
you're
I don't think we talked a lot about, because it was the end of season 3. But the whole, the boat in the storm and the walking on the water, like that sequence, paired with the parallel they were dealing with Simon's wife, with her. Now, granted, I'm not married. I don't know what it's like to have those experiences, but I thought that was a really powerful, parallel, very different concepts. It was a very, very powerful scene at the end of season 3 that I was really blown away by how well they presented that in the show.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on it last time because it was right at the end of the season. That would have been super spoilery. But now that we're in season 4, yeah, I mean, it was amazing to see that even as Simon was angry, like he was pissed, and even as he was, though, he still had the faith. Like that even led to him being more, I think, upset, because he had so much faith in who this person is that he's like, why couldn't you prevent this bad thing from happening to me and my family? Or why didn't you? Maybe not why couldn't you, but why didn't you? And then seeing the way that they put that scene together with the rain and the boat and the walking on the water and stuff, it was very well done cinematically. Like even if you just take like the whole, concept of what we're talking about away, and like you said, you're not religious or whatever, like just seeing it cinematically, they did a great job. Like they really did a great job with that.
Yeah.
So,
and knowing, how Simon's character progresses through, Peter's character progresses through this season, and knowing the story and where that goes and what's going to happen before the end of the story, depending on where they, there's multiple end of the stories they could choose to do, as far as places to end it. I don't know how far they're going to continue the story, where he's going with that. It just makes him, again, such a more believable, grounded, realistic character. and to see the things we know he's going to do, all the more heartbreaking, you know, and because the actor is doing such a good job of making you feel what he's feeling. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I can't wait for season 5. I don't know how long it's going to be. I know, you know, the whole series has been fan funded. You know, it's so if I think it's all done by Angel Studios, and they do take donations, but it's all fan funded. So, you know, it depends on how quickly they get funding, and then they can, you know, get everything set up and film and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure there will be a season 5. I just don't know, you know, when that'll be, but definitely look forward to it because they're doing a great job. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out.
I did just look up just to see season 5 is currently in production. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how far into production, but it does say season 5 is filming. So
awesome. And I should mention too, it is available on the Angel Studios app, which is absolutely free, so you can watch it there. Plus, it's available on Amazon Prime right now, so you can watch it there as well. So
believe it's on Netflix as well.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I thought I saw it pop up on Netflix, but I might have just.
I know
been
some streaming services, like when it was 3 seasons were out, some streaming services had like the first season, but then not like 2 and 3. So check it out. There are 4 seasons right now. You can definitely see all 4 of them on Angel Studios and on Amazon. But yeah, if there's another streaming service that you can find it on, hey, just check it out because it's fun.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Well, until next time, what's on your one shot?